And welcome to another episode of the From Her View podcast with me, Sade Camille. And as always, I'm excited to have another episode with you guys, talk about some things. And typically, I like to do everything about like mindset, like how I'm thinking, like strategies that I'm making, and everything like that. But recently, Holy Spirit snatched me up and kind of brought something to my attention. And I thought that it would be really great to share because we did have that whole check yourself, wreck yourself. And people were probably like, okay, you know this information about yourself. How is it applicable to day to day life? Like, what benefit does that have me in my everyday life to know these things about myself when some of it is not a conscious thing? Some of it is very like a subconscious level. And so I am a document ish everything type woman. So in some form or fashion, like I do try to document everything, but I was scrolling through like my phone, just like looking at old photos, and I've really been kind of obsessed with growth. Okay. So it's not a bad thing. Um, but kind of like not obsessed, but more dissecting of who I was. So I'm looking at different photos of myself from different times, like let's say over the course of 5 years, and just looking at, oh my God, I looked like this, and what was I thinking at that moment of time? And so this is really funny because one of my coworkers was like, "Oh yeah, in a past life, I was a trophy husband, and I, was like, a debutante husband." And I was like, "Oh my God, that's such a great thing to kind of say." So it kind of ties both of those things together as saying, at one point in my life, I was this, and now I'm that, and how not far removed I am from that person, but far enough where I can like turn to her, wave at her, and say, "Girl, I can't go back there, but thank you for the journey." And that's the only thing that matters, is being consciously aware of who we were and taking that self reflection. So I'm all about self assessment, self reflection, introspection, because those things are important. And it's kind of like different because I'm just like I tell people I'm a succulent. I'm kind of self-contained. I'm like aloe vera. Like I don't need a whole lot, but I can heal you. So for that being said, it's one of those things where I'm like, okay, I have, you know, recorded a video, and it was talking about how I am excited to start my real estate journey. So if you don't know, I do have a couple of professional licenses, like a lot. It's like I'm like Thanos. I keep collecting these things. But what was frustrating is it kind of felt like, okay, I got this thing, but it's like, okay, now I have to come up with a different plan to get to the next step of this thing. That's how everything goes. But it seemed like the next step kept veering me off of the path of what the main goal is, right? The main goal for myself is to build wealth, financial literacy, teach my children entrepreneurship, teach my children how to have critical thinking skills, how to be, well, they have those innately, but have better critical thinking skills when it comes to this outside world, the value of work, and how we should work smarter and not harder in all these different industries that are removed from a college experience. If that's not something that they want to do, these are avenues that are still producing millionaires, and a lot of millionaires, a lot of billionaires do not have formal education. They just don't. And it's one of those things where we have to take a step back and stop, you know, solely being consumers, because everyone is a consumer to a certain degree, but be a person to add value. So I'm scrolling on my phone. I see the video, and the video is like, oh my god, like I'm so excited for for my real estate journey. I guess it's my fake voice because my sister says in some of my videos I have a fake voice and it's cringy, and she don't like to share my videos because or listening to them because she's like, that doesn't even sound like you, and I'm like, I don't know, like this is how I sound. I guess when the camera's on, when the camera hit flash, I guess this is how it sounds. But where I was like saying all those things in like my heart, like I was like choked up and like convicted by Holy Spirit. And it's crazy because typically I try to like look, everything it's like do, but like everything has something to do with everything, right? I am, reading my Bible, and typically I will do a Bible plan. One of the Bible plans is in the YouVersion Bible app, and this time I was like, no. I had this dream that really like was very vivid, shook me up out of my sleep, and I knew what the symbols were, and so I decided to read Job because in the book of Job, this is where they speak about a leviathan and what a leviathan is, and everything like that. And it was something that I really wanted to learn about. So I'm reading the whole book of Job, which I definitely want to do a podcast on that. But I was reading the book of Job, and I was like, okay, this is like really good. And I'm like, okay, I'm finished with the book of Job. What would be another book to read? And I was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna do Proverbs. And it was insane because I'm reading Proverbs, and I'm like reading it, and I was like, okay, dang, dang, dang. And I want to say I got hit, smack, mollywopped in the face around Proverbs 16, 17. And I was like, okay, okay, okay. So, okay, okay. And one of the things that they talk about in the book of Proverbs, which this is like, put this in perspective. My mom would tell me all this all the time. She's like, "Girl, there ain't nothing new under the sun. Like everything that's happening has happened. Okay? It's just it's new to you. It's not new to this earth. It's new to you." So, one of the things that was said is that with wisdom, wisdom teaches you that you can get rich, not get rich quick. Okay, there's no such thing as a get rich quick. It's a scheme that he said that's for the unwise, but the wise know that true wealth takes time. And it was one of those things where it kind of chastened me, but then it also made me feel like, okay, you know. So I had to take some time and not beat myself up about this goal that I set for myself that I didn't attain or get to, or I'm at a standstill. So I'm a dreamer and a seer. So a lot of my dreams have been about, like, my dream is like, girl, you're delayed. And I'm like, I know I'm delayed. Okay. So, and it's been frustrating because I am trying to pursue different industries, it's very different from the industry that I love and I hold so dear. So I hold a lot of professional licenses. My main love is cosmetology, the beauty industry. So I'm a licensed cosmetologist. I'm a licensed cosmetology instructor. And that's something that I loved. I mean, I loved my team. So if you were ever on my team, especially in Naperville, like I absolutely loved you and adored you. South Loop, West Loop, you know, I love y'all. Okay, y'all was my peeps, and I really enjoyed that. But when I look at photos of myself back then, I do not look like my best self. So it's all kind of like, okay, what am I doing with this data? That's the whole thing that I kind of want us all to realize. What are we doing with this? There's a whole lot of things that we can control in this thing called life. There's not a whole lot of things that we can control, but we can control ourselves and how we react to certain situations and circumstances. So I'm having this conversation with myself, and I'm like, okay, Proverbs is letting me know, the Bible letting me know, okay, there is no such thing as a get rich quick. Like, it's going to take some time. One thing that I do know is that time is created for man, and God lives outside of time. So it's like whenever it happens, it's going to be like tick, 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 boom, and that's all within God's perfect timing because he lives outside of time. So it's actually probably happening right now, but I'm catching up to it. You feel me? So, with that being said, I'm watching the video and I'm like, okay, I am delayed in this. What can I do? This is going to tag back into all the other episodes that we've been through, where I'm like, okay, Atomic Habits, 12-week year, UOU, Can't Hurt Me, and I got a bunch of other books that I'm just waiting to give reviews to you on like some of those great gems. But these are filled with great information, and I don't want to be an information vulture. I don't want to be someone who just like consumes information and does nothing with it. Knowledge is the new currency because if I know how to win this level in Super Mario Brother and I lose a life, the next level, I know exactly how to get me to that point where I succeeded the last time. And so that's kind of the thought that I have. One of the things that I was thinking about, I was like, okay, well, why aren't we in real estate in the capacity that we want? Because it's is there some sort of roadblock? There's something that's happening. Why can't you reach your goal? Because all things are possible in the Lord who giveth me strength. Okay. So why do you feel like this is impossible? And so I was like, okay, well, the main thing is this capital. I don't know where y'all live, but I live in the state of Illinois. And to garner your Illinois real estate license, it is a close like $2,000, pretty much, and the bulk of that is just join the Association of Realtors, the MLS system, being a part of, all the bureaucratic things that it takes to have that license. So those one of those things where I'm like, okay, that's not as much as my rent, baby. I am a single woman. Okay, I'm a divorcee. Okay, baby, I got enough to do what I need to do. So then that led me to, okay, well, if it's capital and I need more capital, okay, cool, great. Okay, I need to find a way to bring myself in more capital. So these are the conversations that I'm having with myself. And this is kind of like how I want you guys to dissect your problems. Because sometimes it's as easy as being 100% with yourself and not necessarily audibly talking to yourself. We have our internal dialogue on the regular. So I had to really, be upfront with myself and say, okay, you want to do this. You know that you're supposed to do this. Okay, what's going to get you there? So I was like, okay, let me pick an industry that I know that is going to generate revenue, make it autonomous because I don't like people. See, that was the first thing that I was just like, oh, this might be a little rectic because my intention and reasoning is because I don't like people. And it's not like I don't like people. Like I love people. I mean, I'm doing this podcast. It's come on, I like people. Or I love people, but it's one of those things where it's like I just want my head down and to make this money and do what I need to do and not be remotely impactful in a person's day-to-day life. And it sounds horrible that I say that I was saying this to myself, because that is not my purpose. So I wanted to do something outside of my purpose. So like God was like, no, my heart posture needs to change in this area to say, okay, I do love people. I do want to help people. I do know that my personality is infectious. I do know that I can bring light into dark situations and be jovial and have fun and bring a different perspective to other people and watch them change. Like I have a coworker and I was like not even a coworker, just like my coworkers in my immediate work area, and it's just like certain things that I do, me just being me, because I'm always going to be me as extra as I am, as I can be. I'm always going to be myself. Um, I think in our teenage years, we spend so much time fighting against who we really want to be and a sense of needing to belong versus my me being my natural self is automatically going to attract people that resonates with me. And it was actually quite funny because in my high school, and I say this all the time, and it was so funny because I feel like teen movies are horrible and they perpetuate like a completely unrealistic experience that I had for me in high school. But it was like, okay, yeah. Are there preps? Are there jocks? Are there the goth kids? Are there the, the band kids and stuff like that? Yeah. Were they like gang banging and being versus each other? No, we had classes with each other. We'd be like, hey, in the pictures and having fun and laughing and hey girl, you got that new CD? Can I borrow that? Girl, this CD is banging. You wanna, like that's how it was for my experience. But I say that all to say we fight who we want to be trying to fit in. And I was like, you're like, I mean, I look real young. Don't get it twisted. I look really, really young. And it's so irritating because people really think that I am very, very young, like very young. And I am not. Okay. She is full grown. Okay. Not in height. It is earth. And it's one of those things where it's like, I don't want to spend the rest of my life being someone else. I want to spend the whole day of my life being myself. And so I'm over here doing my own thing, and I'm like, okay, like I'm trying to be healthy. I'm trying to lose weight. Talking with my trainer at the time, and everything like that. Which I want to get my trainer back. So that's another reason why I'm like, girl, get it together. But it's one of those things where I'm like, okay, cool. You want to do these things. You are doing all the things that you need to do. So they're noticing my behavior. They're noticing me with my obnoxious Blendjet. It's a ninja, my ninja, blending up my meal replacements and they're, like drinking majority water. If you see me drinking something else, it's probably some electrolyte sports drink or something like that. Just trying to be, more healthy, more conscious or whatever. And so we're around each other so much. And then then I was like, oh, like I'm not having caffeine. I'm like really taking a caffeine break, which is crazy because I love coffee. Not like the feeling that coffee gives me because it is a delayed reaction for myself, but I love the taste of coffee. Like, baby, Dunkin' Donuts or a good Starbucks dessert coffee, okay? A venti caramel macchiato with a quad, baby. Oh, it's the way to my heart. Okay, it's the way to my heart. But I realized that it was affecting my sleep, and so I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to do 'cause that, and I was hitting that pre workout. So maybe I'll be working out with no caffeine, So pop my collar, okay. But so I decided not to do that, and I was like, oh yeah, no, like no, thank you. Like I'm not having caffeine at the moment. Like when I tell you no caffeine, I mean no caffeine. Like no tea, no black tea, no green tea, nothing with traces of caffeine in it. I guess I still eat chocolate, but not a whole lot. Like not a whole lot, but nothing caffeinated. So been doing that and things like that. And so they noticed a change in my behavior and they started changing their behavior. And so me and one of the guys, we have our matching, well, they're not matching, but we have our little blend cups. And he's like, oh yeah, I got this in my blend cup today and everything like that. And this guy's like, I'm focusing on my water. I'm drinking this amount of water. And this guy was like, I'm watching what I'm eating. I'm having this and this. And it's just so great. So I know the type of in the like negativity is infectious, but positivity is just as infectious. And so now that we're all like on the same beat, like it just makes our space, our communal space great. And when our communal space is like getting a little attacked, child, I'd be like, y'all need to go somewhere with that. But back to our subject, right? Me having the time to really talk things out with myself, think things out with myself, write things out with myself and say, hey, capital is an issue. Okay, we got to do some things. So I decided that the thing that I would do would be get my CDL. if you are getting your CDL, which I guess I should make a completely separate podcast for this, but if you're going to get your CDL, please do your complete and total and utter and unequivocal research. I did not hit up YouTube University as well as, or at all, honestly, to find out any information that I needed. I picked a school based solely off of a schedule that would work for me and my work schedule, which that is paramount. But also, I should have did more investigation on what are they training me on, what does their training facility look like, how does their process work, things of that nature. Because if I would have looked more into those things, I would have never picked the school that I picked. I would have never picked the school that I picked. And I did pick it also because it was recommended to me by a former coworker. And everyone's experiences are going to be different. But for me, I would, if I could go back in time, I would not have picked that school. It just wouldn't have been the thing for me. So CDL is something that I still want to do, I still want to pursue, but my heart posture has changed about it. So I was like, okay, I can sacrifice 3 months that it takes, 2 to 3 months that it takes to get this license. Now, this school said 2 months, actually 3 months. They said 9 weeks. So around 3 months. And the going advertised thing for other places was like, oh, get your CDL in 4 weeks, baby. But it's full time. And I'm like, I can't do full time school and a full time job, which thinking about back about it now, I think I could have done a full time job in a full time school if I knew that I was going to get my results. Because for me, I don't mind being down bad. Like, I don't mind doing what I have to do to get to where I'm trying to go. Let me say that again. I do not mind doing what I need to do to get where I'm trying to go. And that's period. It doesn't, I never want to be, and sometimes I have to catch myself. I never want to be so haughty, so prideful, where I'm like, nah, nah, that's beneath me. No, I have to be able to have that dog and be humbled in myself to say, like, what I'm doing now, I don't mind saying what I'm doing now. I don't necessarily have the whole, like, I'm a hairstylist. Like I used to do because baby, I'll be like, yeah, I'm a hairstylist. I'm an instructor. Like I work in logistics, and that's okay. I'm doing exactly what I need to do to take care of my family, to take care of my children, and that's completely okay. But I understand that it's for a season, and that's the key part. I was willing to be down bad for a season, knowing that I'm going to be down bad for a season. Baby, what they say, the children of Israel was supposed to be traveling for 40 days and into 400 years. Because, baby, that's what it felt like. And I was like, I have to put a stop to this. I have to put a stop to this because I'm thinking my economical structure of my home is dwindling. My time is being dictated by another, which that's like a completely like another like thing that really grinds my gears. So like my time is being dictated by another person. I'm grown. I'm 35, baby. I'm grown. And so this was like too much for me in the sense of I don't mind being down bad, but don't give me the runaround. Don't constantly, make it point the finger at me and be like, you. Because I'm a person where I'm like, I can admit my fault in any situation. You know, I can admit my own faults. And I tell people that all the time. If I did something wrong, I have no problem admitting that I did something wrong. If I said something, I don't have a problem repeating what I said to or about that person or about that situation because that's who I am. Too many people have a level of cowardice where don't they don't hold the ability to be completely authentic with themselves. I have to be authentic with myself where I am. And a lot of people don't possess that. A lot of people are like, "Yeah, girl, you're my friend, girl," and they'd be like, "She stink," like, like say crazy stuff behind their back, and I'm like, "No, like, I'll tell you that to your face." The only point in time where it's like I won't tell a person something directly if it's like in a work scenario and I'm like, okay, this is not really my place to tell this person this, but let me go tell somebody who place it is to tell them, and then they can do with that information if it directly affects me, you know? But you have to be able to be a woman, a man of your word, and have that be with your actions. I feel like that is a true sign of maturity of saying what you're doing. Now there's some promises I made to my kids that I'm like, baby, I'm gonna come good on those promises. Okay. I never put a time limit on it, but I'm gonna come through on those promises. But I'm going through and I'm saying, hey, capital. So what am I gonna do? Okay, school is on pause. Okay. CDL is not a period, it's a pause for like a couple months. And so now I'm like, okay, I've got to generate some extra revenue. So I got a part time job, generate extra revenue. Okay, what are some of the things that was holding us back with real estate? Okay, it's having access to this, the full benefit. So I have the license, I don't have the full benefits of the license. So it's one of those things where like, okay, I have to pay the fee. So this fee is X amount of dollars. I know how much this fee is. Okay, that's going to be my focus. My main focus is always going to be my household. That's always going to be my main focus. My household, myself. Well, actually, it's myself, then my house. Actually, it's God, myself, and my household. Because, baby, if I'm not right, okay, none of y'all get it together. Okay. But that's the order of it, the order of operations. That's the order of operations of everything, and that's something that that's important. So I was like, okay, whatever extra income that I have right now, because I'm okay with where I am right now with just my full-time job, but I don't have any extra. It's like everything is delegated, and I'm like, I need savings. I need to do this. I need to do that. I need to be able to, move like I need to move, invest. I haven't been able to put anything in my investment accounts. Like there's things that I need to do. And so doing the part-time job, okay, that's cool. So I'm doing this part-time job for what reason? I'm working a part-time job in order to save up for my real estate licensing fees. That is the goal, right? Now, I have to put a measurable time on this because this is goal setting. I have to put a measurable time on this. Well, SMART goals is what they call it. So, M for measurable. So, what is my timeline for that? Okay, I'm going to say that I'm going to give myself 3 months to save up this fee in order to get my license. Okay, cool. So within that 3 months, that's what I'm going to do. Now, if I need this part time job for anything other than that, I have to be like, okay, what else do I need this part time job for? So I also am going to continue this part time job probably until December or so, maybe even longer than that. I'm not trying to be there for years and years and years or anything like that, but I definitely have a couple things that are important that I want to save up for. Like I want to do my month ahead savings. So, month ahead savings is where I literally have every single bill that I need saved that I have a month ahead. So, that would be something that would take me a little bit more time to do. So, I really want to be able to attack that. But for this, I want to specifically head on attack this first goal. And my thought process is always okay, what is going to be something that is going to help generate more income? So, inadvertently, the license is not going to help me generate more income just by having the license, just like, oh, okay, I have the license, whatever, because there is still work attached to that. But I at least want to get my foot in the door. I at least want to get the knowledge. I at least want to have the opportunity, even if it's in a part time capacity, to get the knowledge and the understanding for this field because I know quite a bit, but it's literally quite a bit. I don't know quite a lot. I know quite a bit. So there's quite a bit that I know about it and I want to learn more. So that is what happened when I was scrolling through that video. So this was like the gears turning in my head and I'm like, okay, girl, like you have to get it together. So, I said that we're putting a pause on this CDL, not a period. Well, I also need to be able to do that month ahead savings because I'm going to be gone with any company that I get with. You know, the training for those companies, you're going to be gone for months. So it's like I'm going to be gone for like 2, 3 months training, and I have to have all my ducks in a row. Like I have to have everything saved up, rent paid up for as far as I can pay up rent, and just like have everything good for my kids. Make sure that my daughter knows how to drive comfortably and everything like that, and putting herself in those positions. So now that I have these things written out, right? So I said, I need to save up for the real estate license. I just said, I want to make sure that my daughter learns how to drive, save that month ahead. And my thing that's going to help me do that is to get supplemental income in. So I have my supplemental income, and that in turn is going to help me save. So with that, that comes within a budget. Okay, baby. So if y'all ain't budgeting, y'all don't know where none of y'all money is going. Okay, if y'all are not budgeting, especially when you do swipe and you don't know, you know, you have to budget. So I have my whole steps and processes for that, but I wasn't consistently doing it. So that was one another thing where I'm like, I have to get this ball rolling. And one of the great things about this, because I said 3 months, well, that ties into a 12-week year. And there's actionable steps that I have to do along the way. So that's how I break things down. That's how that book comes into play. Now, me getting back into my budgeting, that would be atomic habits. That would be okay, if I say that I'm doing these things to set myself up in a process to be wealthy, I have to think like a wealthy person. Well, wealthy people actually do not trade their time for money, but I'm not there yet. So I am gonna have to do a little bit of trading my time for money. But if I can take my time that I'm trading for money and then give like make sure that that money has babies. So putting it into, my stocks and putting some money there and investing like I was previously, that's nest egg over time. And that's what's so great about the book of Proverbs is that it was telling me, over time that over time is where you can really get your true wealth. And I've already read this book, but I'm going to revisit it again. Actually, did I finish it? I don't know if I finished it or not. But also, The Richest Man in Babylon. Really going through what are some of your goals. They're cute to write down. It's a cute caption on Instagram. It's very catchy, but it's some work that needs to happen behind it. And you have to be able to humble yourself to do what you need to do. And it doesn't matter because it's just going to be a story that you tell at the end of the day when you've reached that pinnacle. So there's one of these millionaires that I follow, him 500. And I love his story. Like he should come out with a book, baby, because I just love his story. But there's so many podcasts with him in it where he shares his story, and he has a whole network where he shares his story. And he shares his story, and he says, I got into real estate really young because my mom was a realtor, made tons of money. And this was in 2008, cowboy years, where everybody could get financing, zero money down, da da da, like the craziness. They need to bring that back. please. But when all that was happening, and he's like, oh yeah, I was making really great money, and then he was like, I moved to Atlanta, and I lost a lot of that money, and me and my best friend, we were down bad. We didn't have as much money as we needed. He unfortunately took his life, and that caused him to kind of go into a depressive state. And he talks about how he went from being a realtor making really great money to working at a warehouse. He said sleeping on my sister's, I don't know, living room, basement. He was sleeping at his sister's house, on an air mattress. And he said, you know how you sleep on an air mattress and like depending on how it is, how it slow leaks. He's like, yeah, when that thing was slow leak, I knew it was time to get up. And he was like, I would work every day as much overtime as I could get. I would just work and I would give the money away. And then he had, that aha moment, that epiphany moment. And what he is describing, his journey, what I'm describing, my journey, is kind of like, it's not kind of like, it's being in the wilderness. It's like you have a promised land, a place that's set for you, that God has shown you, that God has put into your mind, a thing that you can't shake, that you know that you're going to be at a very, you know, pivotal point, but you're not there yet. And it's something that we really need to give grace to ourselves. I don't know about y'all, but I can get really hard with Sade. I'd be like, Sade, girl, come on. Or be as social as I should or could or need to be. Sometimes I'm just so like focused in the lab, like, okay, I need to do this. Okay, let me research into this and let me find out this and da 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 da. And I'm like, oh, okay, do 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 do. Like literally, baby, I have flip charts up in my bedroom of me mapping out this, writing out that. Okay, going through this idea, seeing how this could work, and really trying to work the system. But there was one thing that I had, I had to promise myself that I wouldn't do, was give myself too much. I know that I have the great capacity to do a whole lot, to the point where I make a lot of things look very easy. Like I make a lot of things look very easy. And it's so funny because I make things look very easy to the point that everybody thinks that they can do it until they do it and they're like, I don't want to do that. I don't know how she doing that, but I don't want to do that. But that's ultimately like how I am. And so I was like, after having brain surgery, I really was like, and thinking and looking at those old pictures of myself where I was like, I worked so much that all I could do was work, eat, and sleep. I wasn't working out. I wasn't taking my health into consideration. Like, I don't even want to. I had to actually buy some stock in DoorDash, baby, because during that time, baby, I was door dashing 2 to 3 times a day, baby. I don't even want to know how much I was spending on, door dashing, because I was so exhausted that I was like, okay, I'm a wife, so I have to make sure that my family is fed. So let me do door dash this stuff and make things happen, but I wasn't truly happy. I'm doing those things that make me happy. I'm spending more time with God, having more conversations with God, learning more things about Him, and in turn, learning more things, which makes me look better, which makes me feel better, which makes me more happy, which gives in turn helps me have a clearer mind, make better decisions, and do the things that I need to do. One of the things that I try not to be is like super clouded. So what does that mean? I never want to be like clouded by anger. Honestly, I had to catch myself the other day because somebody had really, you know what it is? It's a lady season. It's a lady time season. And so people will come at you, and normally I'd be like, but I'm like, okay, this person came at me and I was like, you gonna find the square root of, you got me messed up. Okay? You gonna find the square root. And she did. And it was grieving me so bad. It was grieving me so bad. And like until the next day, like I was like really irritated by this. I was like, how did I ever give that person the impression that they could speak to me that way? That's weird. That's suspicious. And the only thing that made it go away was praying for her. So the whole time I was praying to God, like, God give me strength. So I don't, Lord, because they look at me and they be thinking until I'd be like, you know what I'm saying? But I was like, God, like, like give me give me grace, like, Lord Jesus, like, help me relax, help me chill out, Lord, because I'm up here, I'm trying to come down here. And it wouldn't shake off me. And it didn't shake off me because I should have been praying for that person and not myself in that moment. Because I was praying for this feeling to leave me, but the feeling wasn't necessarily anger. It was kind of like a grieving. It was kind of like a disappointing. It was like like I'm disappointed in myself how I reacted, but also the reason why I reacted that way had to do with man and not with my relationship with God. Because typically I'm just like, but it was the square root of, she found out. But that's one of the things that we have to do. It's really pray some of these things out. So I want to say that I hope that this was very helpful, because in order for us to really get to the places and spaces that we want to get, it's cool to say. It's like New Year's resolutions. It's cool to say, baby, I hate New Year's. If you go to the gym for real, you hate New Year's. Why? Because everybody and their mama be in the freaking gym, baby. You can't get to nothing, baby. That's why I'm like, I'm glad that I had trainers and that a lot of my workouts are not solely machine based. But child, I can't. It'd be too much. But you have to understand where you're at. Okay, so this goes back to Atomic Habits. It's your systems. Okay, so you take your systems and you put them in the confines of a 12-week year. Okay, with the mindset of a can't hurt me, a you, and that's what's really going to push that thing forward. And so I really hope that we take a time to, look into these books, find podcasts of the authors speaking about their books because they're very helpful. They're business books slash self help books, personal development, which are these are things that we need. I really want us to be 1,000 with ourselves and say, hey, I'm not where I need to be, and I let life me, and life lifed me out of my life path that I was supposed to be on. And it's okay. Like, it's the top of, actually it's not, girl. We almost done with the second quarter. Yeah, baby. Well, no, we're not. No, we're not. I'm tripping. We're a month into the second quarter of the year. And I'm like, baby, there are so many things that I was supposed to do that I didn't really do. But I can't really be too hard on myself because first quarter, I did do a whole lot of things. I am very proud of myself. I did go, full force with the podcast and launched it and being consistent with doing that. And, just other things that I did along the way. But there's some things that I want to sow, or I want things financially, like the financial habits that I need to adopt back, the things that I need to do. And that brings me to, there's certain things that I don't have the capacity for at the moment. You know what I'm saying? It's one of those things where it's like, okay, I'm going to have to retire my jersey. I'm going to have to do a Michael Jordan when I say, like, okay, I'm quitting basketball, but then really I'm going to come back. I'm quitting basketball. I'm quitting dating for the current moment in time. I'm just like, it's a little too time consuming for me for where I'm trying to go. So I mean, obviously I'm not completely shut out to it, but I'm not that much interested. It's kind of like social media to me at this point. It's just like, oh, okay. It's not something that I really want to put my full focus on, because I do think that if you take the time to develop yourself and you're leveling up in yourself, that energy and your palette for the things that you like do change. My palette has changed from when I was 17, when I was 19, 20, 25. My palette has changed. There's just different things that are important to me now that I didn't realize that was important to me back then. So, with that being said, you have survived 1,000% of the things that was sent to break you. So, we got work to do. This has been another episode of the From Her View podcast with me, Sade Camille. I will see you next time.